Ever find yourself stuck in traffic, staring at that steamroller like, what's the career path there?
Uh-huh, right.
Well, get ready to have your mind blown because today's deep dive is all about the unsung heroes of smooth roads, asphalt plant operators. We're going deep with some awesome insights from RoleCatcher, the career experts.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, asphalt is way more interesting than it sounds.
Oh, absolutely. Most people just see the road, not the fascinating process and skill that goes into making it.
Exactly. It's not just like dumping gravel and calling it a day,
Yeah,
right?
not at all.
So for those of us who think asphalt is just, well, tar, break it down for us.
Yeah.
What does an asphalt plant operator actually do?
They're like the master chefs of road construction. But instead of food, they take raw materials, things like sand, gravel, and asphalt cement, and mix up this. It's a surprisingly complex recipe for the durable asphalt we drive on every day.
Okay, complex recipe. I like that.
Yeah.
Now I'm really curious. What does this whole process actually involve? Are we talking giant ovens, secret ingredients? Paint us a picture.
Think more like heavy machinery and serious precision. It all starts with getting those raw materials, often using powerful equipment like bulldozers and excavators. Then they've got to transport everything to the asphalt plant.
So they're already out there getting their hands dirty. I'm starting to see where that operates heavy machinery. Part of the job description comes in.
Oh, yeah, and that's just the beginning. Once everything's at the plant, things get really interesting. They use these huge automated machines to crush and sort all the stones to get just the right size and texture. Then it all goes into this giant mixer, kind of like a cement mixer, but way bigger, with the asphalt cement that's been heated up to a specific temperature.
Sounds like one of those things where if you mess up the measurements, you've got a serious problem on your hands.
You got it. And these operators are the ones responsible for getting it exactly right. Constantly got to keep an eye on those automated systems, make sure all the proportions are perfect. Plus, they're taking samples throughout the process, like quality control to make sure the asphalt is top-notch.
So it's a good mix, literally, of brains and brawn.
Yeah.
You got to be tough, but you also got to have the knowledge to make sure everything's running smoothly.
You said it. It's a highly skilled position. And that's why RoleCatcher breaks down the career path into distinct stages. You don't just jump straight into the deep end.
Yeah, it's a climb. Like you're building your skills at each level.
Exactly. You usually start as an entry-level operator, assisting the more seasoned folks, learning the ropes. Then, as you gain experience, you move up to junior operator, where you start taking on more responsibility, doing more independently.
Okay, so you're building a strong foundation of skills, kind of like, well, with asphalt. But I'm guessing things get even more intense when you hit senior operator level.
Now you're talking leadership. A senior operator isn't just handling their own tasks, they're overseeing a whole team, making sure everyone's meeting those critical quality control standards. Plus, coordinating with construction sites to make sure deliveries happen like clockwork.
That's a lot of pressure, but also a ton of responsibility. They're like the conductors of the asphalt orchestra, making sure everyone's in sync.
Love that analogy. And finally, you reach the peak, the maestro themselves, the lead asphalt plant operator.
Ah, the top of the asphalt mountain. That's got to come with a whole other level of complexity.
Definitely. They're overseeing every single aspect of the operation, from streamlining the entire process to making sure everyone is working safely to mentoring those up-and-coming operators. It's a demanding position, no doubt, but the reward of leading a team and creating a quality product, that's huge.
Okay, so now we're seeing the career ladder from bottom to top. But RoleCatcher mentioned some surprising skills you need beyond just, driving heavy machinery.
Yeah.
It's not just about being a gearhead, right?
It's true. You need way more than just a heavy foot on the gas pedal. Remember RoleCatcher talked about those percentages? 79% for building and construction skills, and then 54% for mechanical. Those blew my mind a little bit.
Right. Okay, I get needing to drive the bulldozer, but knowing how to build a bridge, that seems a little intense. How does that even play into their everyday work?
Think about it this way. An asphalt plant operator needs to get what the asphalt is actually going to be used for, how it's going to be used. They got to understand all the different ways to build roads, the materials, even how things like drainage and the soil being packed down all work together.
So it's like they're speaking the language of the construction site, even if they're not the ones out there actually, laying down the asphalt.
You got it. And don't forget about the mechanical stuff. We were talking about those conveyor belts before, right? What happens when one of those breaks down in the middle of mixing a batch of asphalt? An operator with good mechanical skills can figure out the problem. They might even have to bust out those hydraulic schematics, get things up and running again.
See, this is why I love these deep dives. I had no idea it was so technical. So they're part construction boss, part mechanic, and part heavy machinery whisperer.
You could say that. It's a pretty unique skill set.
Yeah.
And we can't forget the responsibility that goes along with all this. They're the ones making sure that the asphalt is high quality because it's the foundation for everything else, literally. I mean, think about it. Bad asphalt leads to potholes, cracks, and that makes it dangerous to drive.
Okay, now that smooth stretch of highway seems a lot more impressive. They really are like road wizards or something. But let's be real. Every job has its ups and downs. RoleCatcher didn't shy away from the challenges.
Nope, they didn't. It's definitely physically demanding work. You're often outside dealing with whatever the weather throws at you. Plus, there's the noise, the dust, sometimes fumes. And we can't forget about those long hours. Weekends, holidays, all fair game, especially when you're trying to meet a deadline.
Yeah, no thanks. I'd last about 5 minutes running a jackhammer in the summer heat. But I do have to say, being able to actually build something tangible that everyone uses, and that's part of our infrastructure, that's got to be pretty rewarding.
Oh, for sure. And the job security and pay are usually pretty good. It's a trade, and construction isn't going anywhere. Skilled operators are always going to be in demand. If you're willing to put in the work, it's a solid career path.
So it's a trade-off.
Mm.
Tough work for good pay. Plus, you get to build something that lasts. But RoleCatcher also talked about some big trends that are shaking things up in the industry, and one of the biggest has to be automation. Is that going to replace asphalt plant operators altogether?
I wouldn't say replace, but it's definitely changing the game. Automation is leading to some really advanced systems that can take care of those repetitive tasks we were talking about before.
So instead of just muscle, now you got to be tech savvy.
Exactly. An asphalt plant operator today needs to be comfortable with all kinds of computer systems, reading data, troubleshooting on the fly.
It's like they've traded in their wrenches for tablets. And since we're on the topic of trends, there's another one I'm really curious about: sustainability. Is there such a thing as like eco-friendly asphalt?
There is. The construction industry is trying to find more sustainable practices, and that includes how they make asphalt.
Okay, I have to ask. What does eco-friendly asphalt even look like? Are we talking like green-tinted roads?
Not quite. Think more about using recycled materials in the mix. Stuff like crushed glass, even rubber from tires. There's also a big push for using lower temperature asphalt, which takes less energy to make, which is good for greenhouse gases.
Wow. So they're building our roads and saving the planet at the same time.
It's an industry that's changing a lot. New technology and a bigger focus on the environment are pushing things in some really interesting directions.
You know, I have to admit, I never thought I'd find asphalt so fascinating. But before we roll on to our next topic, what are some key takeaways our listeners should remember about this career path?
Well, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that asphalt plant operators, they're the unsung heroes, when it comes to the roads we drive on. It seems so basic, right? But the skill and the precision and honestly the knowledge that goes into making it happen, it's pretty impressive.
It's like this perfect blend of like science and machinery, even a little artistry thrown in there, and they're the ones keeping us all moving.
I like that. And as tech gets even more advanced and sustainability becomes even more important, they're going to be the ones leading the way, making sure our roads are smooth and environmentally sound.
This has been eye-opening, I gotta say. Who knew you could learn so much about innovation and sustainability from asphalt?
Right. The things we take for granted.
Exactly. Well, there you have it, everyone. Another deep dive in the book. So next time you're cruising down the road, take a minute to think about those asphalt plant operators, the ones who laid the groundwork. Literally. And until next time, keep asking those questions, keep learning.